For the Washington Commanders, the offseason headlines roll on, and they're not good ones.
No.
More coming out with Dan Snyder and how he ran or is running Washington. Do you think this could be the ultimate thing that gets him removed completely?
If true, yes. If what the House Oversight Committee in D.C. is being told by, the story is two different sources testified under oath to a House Oversight Committee. If what they say is true, Dan Snyder will not be the owner of the Washington Commanders. His 23-year reign will end.
Wow.
Because the allegations are he had two separate accounting books, which took into account the Commanders' revenue. Okay, so the NFL
first
rules.
of all, that just sounds bad
It's
right
already-
off the bat.
it's already bad.
You have two books. Okay, bad.
That's always bad. That sounds like something right out of the mob, doesn't it? So in the NFL, ownership, each team, the revenue they take in, 40% of that revenue gets shared amongst every other team. So obviously, if you don't want to share a big piece of the pie, you just make a book that says, oh, well, you want to have a smaller pie.
Right.
That's stealing from other owners.
For sure.
And none of them will put up with that.
Yeah.
He won't have it. It won't be Roger Goodell. It will be the other owners will vote Daniel Snyder out of the league. If that's true, it's a serious allegation.
That's awful. Let's move to some good news for the Washington Commanders, because with the NFL draft comes a new fresh air.
Boy, does any team want the NFL draft to get here more than the Commanders?
Maybe the Houston Texans
Yeah, that's
and
true.
the Commanders.
Yes.
But the Commanders have the 11th pick. Who do you think they might grab?
I think they have to take a receiver because they got Carson Wentz now. They don't have a lot of weapons. Their defense should get better just with everybody being healthy this year.
True.
But if you draft a guy like Chris Olave from Ohio State, he's got the speed. He's a smooth route runner. You put him on the other side with Terry McLaurin.
Wow, yeah.
And that opens up, to me, Curtis Samuel in the slot. All of a sudden, Carson Wentz has three legit, viable receivers at option, which Taylor Heineke never had. It also kind of covers you next year because McLaurin's going into the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
And in this, crazy environment of receivers getting paid $20 million a year, McLaurin's going to say, hey, I'm as good as them.
Yeah.
Can Washington afford that? I think they draft Olave as kind of sort of an insurance policy to him going forward.
Speaking of a team that's very excited for the NFL draft, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons, who have the 8th selection. And there's a lot of different positions that they could use this with because they really need help all over their roster.
Every position, unfortunately.
But you could say that wide receiver is the thinnest in the NFL.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll go with a receiver for new quarterback Marcus Mariota?
Don't they have to? I mean, like you said, they have running back issues. They've got every level of their defense needs help.
Offensive line issues.
Offensive
one
line
of the
issues.
worst in the league.
Yeah, but Russell Gage gone to Tampa. Calvin Ridley suspended for 2022 for gambling. Who's their receiver?
Yeah.
You have to have somebody. You got to give Marcus Mariota a chance. I know he knows Arthur Smith's system. There's going to be some familiarity there, and Mariota can run with the ball. But if you don't give him viable receivers, their defenses are going to just crowd the box. You have no chance. I think they have to take a receiver at 8 because right now it's Kyle Pitts and a bunch of guys named Richie Witt and Bree. I mean, they have, like you said, the thinnest receiving core in the league is in Atlanta. If you don't fix that, then I don't know what you're doing with your rebuild.
Yeah. Speaking of rebuilds and fixing a lot of things, the Houston Texans, they just had one of their best players retire.
Yep.
How important is this for Houston to be able to fill that role?
Whitney Merciless was one of the greatest Texans ever. I mean, he was kind of on those defenses that won 5 AFC South championships, along with Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt. He was kind of the face of that defense.
Right.
They cut him last October, so he was kind of done. But just to see him leave kind of is, it's like, yeah, we used to have a good defense in Houston.
Yeah.
Now they lose Justin Reed, who's also a really good player in free agency. I think the Texans have got to look at a safety, maybe a Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame if it drops to them. They have a couple of high picks, so they can do a lot of different things. But replacing Justin Reed on the defense and, again, getting some more firepower in what last year was one of the worst offenses in the league, that's what the Texans need to do.
So what do you think the Texans will do with Brandon Cooks? Because the Dallas Cowboys are calling, a couple other teams are calling. Hey, what do you want for Cooks? Do you see them actually keeping him and retaining him?
I don't think they can I think they would like to get rid of him, but I think it's his agent saying, oh, these teams are calling. Because think about it. Brandon Cooks, a good player. I mean, 90 catches, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns on a really, really bad team with a rookie quarterback. That's impressive. But he's in the last year of his contract. And in this environment of $20 million a year receivers, Brandon Cooks is going to say, why not me? Now, if a team trades for him, they have the risk of, are we just renting him for 1 year? Because, like, you know, a team's got to say, we're either going to rent him for a year and then lose him, or we're going to pay him $20 million. And as good as he is he a $20 million player? As far as the Cowboys, for example, CeeDee Lamb has all the skills of Brandon Cooks. He's younger and probably better. So would the Cowboys make that deal? I don't think so. I think the Texans ride him out. He's the best receiver on their team.
Definitely. Not even close.
They can add to him, maybe build to him, and then in the offseason say, look, Brandon, you're still our number one guy. We're building something here you got rapport with a rookie quarterback. Stay here for the right money, we'll get it done. He's an asset, but because of what he's going to want in free agency, it makes him a dangerous asset and tough to peddle on another team.
What I will say about Cooks is he is one of the hardest workers in the NFL. I used to cover Oregon State with NBC Sports, and that's where he went. And while all the other players looked like they were going 100%, it was Cooks going 200%. He was there early, he was there late. If he is to get on the Cowboys or whatever team, you know that you're getting a hard worker. So that's a blessing.
Great player, great motor, but big price tag.
Let's talk about the Rams. And are they playing Madden over there? Because it kind of looks like they are.
I mean, they're kind of rubbing it in the face of every other team, aren't they? I mean, Sean McVay always comes off as kind of, he knows everything, like he's the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
And then, dang it, he goes out and proves it and reiterates it. How do you lose Von Miller, who's Hall of Famer, multiple Super Bowl rings, just help you win a Super Bowl? You lose him, and you're like, you know what? We're going to be better next year on defense. They signed Bobby Wagner, who's going to be a Hall of Famer. They still have Hall of Famers, Aaron Donald at defensive line, Bobby Wagner at linebacker, Jalen Ramsey at cornerback. It's unheard of to lose Von Miller and to improve your defense and have Hall of Famers. Then we're not even talking about the offense yet. They may re-sign Odell Beckham Jr. They're like, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, every other team's like, we would love to have him. We just talked about the Texans. He would be their best receiver by far.
Right.
So, yeah, the Rams are playing Madden and everybody else is, still playing asteroids.